Ladies and gentlemen, we often find ourselves wondering what it truly means to be from God. We are familiar with the grand stories, figures who perform wonders, who speak with the authority of the heavens themselves. However, there is something deeper, something more enduring, in recognizing those who truly reflect divine influence. Today, let us explore 9 signs that reveal whether someone is from God, and perhaps, in considering them, we may begin to see the marks of divinity that lie within ourselves as well. A life of selfless love. One of the first and clearest signs is the consistency of selfless love. A person from God does not love based on convenience or mutual gain, but loves freely, even when it requires great sacrifice. Their love is not a fleeting emotion, but a deliberate choice, reflecting a commitment to the well-being of others above their own comfort. The presence of humility. The second sign is humility. This person does not seek to be the center of attention, nor do they demand praise for their good deeds. Their humility is not a denial of their worth, but an acknowledgement that their worth lies not in their accomplishments, but in the purpose they fulfill. They know they are but instruments in a greater design, and as such, they direct all attention and thanks to the one they serve. Consistency in integrity. Thirdly, someone from God exhibits integrity and unwavering commitment to doing what is right, not for the sake of recognition, but because it is right. They are trustworthy even in moments when no one is watching. Their honesty is not bound by convenience, but is a reflection of the truth that they hold within themselves. A willingness to suffer for others. Someone from God does not shy away from suffering. Whether it is the suffering of others or their own personal trials, they stand firm in the face of hardship. They are often found comforting the broken-hearted, offering help where others might shrink back. In their willingness to endure, they embody a divine resilience that speaks of a higher calling, a heart for the marginalized. Those sent by God frequently seek out the marginalized, the forgotten, and the overlooked. Their empathy knows no bounds, for they understand the universal nature of human suffering. In their actions, they speak the language of compassion and strive to elevate the downtrodden. Transformational influence. A sixth sign is the power to transform others. Those who are from God do not simply offer empty words or fleeting advice. Their presence inspires real change, encouraging others to rise above their faults, their weaknesses, and their limitations. They encourage others to see beyond the present and to embrace the transformative power of grace. Unshakable faith in the face of adversity. Seventh, someone from God remains steadfast in their faith no matter the circumstances. In times of trial, when others may be overwhelmed with doubt or fear, they continue to hold fast to the belief in a purpose greater than themselves. Their faith is not a crutch, but a solid foundation that supports them and those around them. A deep sense of purpose. Eighth, people who are from God are driven by a profound sense of purpose. Their actions are not aimless, but are part of a larger divine plan. They understand that their lives are not their own, and every choice they make is aligned with a higher calling. Their purpose shapes their decisions, guiding them on a path that others often recognize as being deeply meaningful. An overflowing joy. The person from God is marked by a joy that surpasses circumstances. It is not the fleeting happiness that comes with success or comfort, but a deep, unshakable joy rooted in their relationship with the divine. This joy is not selfish, but radiates outward, offering hope and peace to those who encounter it. A life of selfless love is one of the most distinctive and evident marks of someone who is truly from God. It is not merely the occasional act of kindness or charity, but a way of being that pervades every aspect of a person's existence. Selfless love is an enduring commitment that transcends personal desires, ego, and convenience. This type of love is not based on what is received in return, but on the unconditional desire to benefit others, often at great personal cost. It is the kind of love that mirrors the divine, rooted not in selfish interests, but in a genuine, profound care for others, regardless of their position or status. The depth of this love can be seen in its consistency. A person who is truly from God does not exhibit acts of kindness or compassion only when it is easy or when it benefits them. They do not choose who to love based on how others can repay them, nor do they withdraw when times are difficult. Instead, their love remains steadfast through all seasons. Whether in times of joy or sorrow, plenty or want, this love is constant and unwavering. It doesn't fluctuate based on circumstances. A person with this kind of love shows up day after day in both big and small ways to help others, whether it is through words of encouragement, lending a helping hand, or simply offering a listening ear. This love also transcends personal comfort and sacrifice. Selfless love often requires that the person go beyond their comfort zone, and sometimes even beyond what seems reasonable or prudent. It is a love that does not count the cost. Consider the many examples throughout history, from religious figures to common individuals, who have chosen to serve others even when it meant personal hardship. For instance, many who are truly from God might dedicate themselves to causes that require great sacrifice, whether that is volunteering in difficult environments, helping the marginalized, or engaging in laborious tasks that go unnoticed by the world at large. It is not about the accolades or the recognition, but about the joy of being a vessel through which God's love flows into the lives of others. This selfless love is often displayed through forgiveness. It is easy to love those who love you back, but someone from God extends love even to those who have wronged them. True, selfless love does not hold grudges or seek revenge. Rather, it seeks reconciliation and peace. It understands that human beings are imperfect, and it offers grace where justice may demand something different. This form of love is not naive, nor does it overlook the harm done. Instead, it chooses to transcend the injury with a focus on healing and restoration, not punishment or condemnation. Through this, the individual exhibits a profound strength, not the strength to fight, but the strength to forgive and to move forward with love intact. Selfless love is active. It is not merely a feeling or a thought. It compels action. A person who loves selflessly does not wait for others to ask for help, but seeks out opportunities to offer aid. This is the kind of love that inspires people to start charitable organizations, volunteer their time, or even just reach out to a neighbor in need. This love is proactive, not passive. It manifests itself in the decision to meet needs without being asked and to offer support even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. A person truly from God will make sacrifices, whether that means giving time, energy, or resources to help others, even when their own needs are pressing. Selfless love is transformative. It has the power to change lives, not just through actions, but through its very presence. When someone displays this kind of love consistently, it shapes the environment around them. It becomes a light in darkness, an example for others to follow. Those who are the recipients of this love are often drawn to it, and in turn are inspired to become more loving themselves. This love is contagious because it reflects something far greater than human nature. It reflects divine nature. It is not just a reflection of human capacity, but of a supernatural power that moves through the individual, enabling them to love beyond their natural abilities. This form of love becomes an example not only of how people should behave, but also of what is possible when one lives in connection with a greater purpose. Selfless love also demands that the person set aside pride and ego. They do not seek the spotlight or the accolades that often accompany acts of kindness. Rather, their joy comes from seeing others thrive and flourish. The individual who loves selflessly finds fulfillment not in the acknowledgement they receive, but in the knowledge that they have been able to help another person in a meaningful way. Their identity is rooted in their relationship with God and in serving others, rather than in seeking personal gain. It is the kind of love that quietly transforms both the lover and the beloved, often in ways that may go unnoticed by the wider world, but that leave a lasting impact on those who are touched by it. Humility is one of the most significant qualities that mark someone truly from God. It is not a feigned modesty or a forced lowering of oneself, but an authentic understanding of one's place in the world, and a deep awareness that one's gifts and achievements are not the result of personal merit alone. Rather, they are granted by a higher power for a greater purpose. This humility is rooted in a sense of reverence and respect toward both God and others, and it drives a person to prioritize the needs of others over personal glory or recognition. The person who is truly humble is aware of their own limitations and imperfections. They do not see themselves as superior to others or deserving of special treatment. This humility is not about self-deprecation or a lack of self-worth, but about having a clear understanding of one's strengths and weaknesses in relation to the greater good. They know that their talents, abilities, and achievements are not solely of their own doing, but are gifts that can be used for the benefit of others. In this sense, true humility is not a denial of one's worth, but an acknowledgement that one's worth is not based on achievements, status, or comparison to others, but on the inherent dignity that comes from being created by God. One of the hallmarks of humility is a willingness to serve. A humble person is not interested in seeking out positions of power or authority. They are not driven by ambition for personal glory, but by the desire to serve and help others. This service is not done out of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to make a positive difference in the world. The humble individual is often found in roles that are unseen and uncelebrated, helping others without seeking recognition or reward. Whether in simple acts of kindness or in more complex endeavors, they serve because they understand that their lives are not their own. They are meant to be used for the good of others and for the fulfillment of a divine purpose. Another significant aspect of humility is the absence of pride. Pride often leads to arrogance, superiority, and an inflated sense of self-importance. A humble person does not elevate themselves above others or think of their own needs as more significant than those around them. They do not boast of their accomplishments or look down upon those they perceive as less accomplished or less fortunate. Instead, they maintain a modest and unassuming demeanor, acknowledging that their position in life is a result of factors beyond their control, such as the opportunities they have received and the privileges they enjoy. In this way, humility prevents them from engaging in comparisons, judgment, or superiority over others. Humility also manifests itself in the way someone handles success and recognition. A humble person does not seek to draw attention to themselves or bask in the admiration of others. They are often quick to deflect praise and direct it elsewhere, particularly toward the sources of their success. They understand that their achievements are often the result of collaboration, the help of others, and ultimately the grace of God. In contrast to those who seek to magnify their own greatness, a humble person quietly acknowledges their achievements without needing to flaunt them. They do not need external validation or acknowledgement because they find their sense of purpose and value in something deeper than public recognition. Humility also involves a willingness to learn and grow. A person with true humility is not so entrenched in their own opinions or experiences that they are unwilling to listen to others. They are open to feedback and receptive to learning from both their successes and their failures. Humility allows them to approach every situation with a sense of curiosity and a recognition that they do not have all the answers. This willingness to learn does not diminish their confidence or self-assurance, rather, it enhances it, as they understand that learning and growth are essential parts of their journey. Humility, in this sense, becomes an invitation for others to share their wisdom, for the humble person recognizes that there is always more to learn, regardless of how much they have already achieved or experienced. The humility of someone from God is also reflected in their relationships with others. They do not seek to dominate or control, but are willing to engage with others on equal footing. They show genuine respect for people of all backgrounds, statuses, and beliefs, recognizing that each person has inherent worth. Humble individuals are not driven by a desire to be served, but by the desire to serve others, especially those who are marginalized, oppressed, or in need. They do not discriminate based on outward appearances, status, or wealth. Instead, they treat every person with the same level of kindness, respect, and dignity. True humility often leads to peace. Because the humble person does not engage in competition or rivalry, they are free from the bitterness and resentment that often accompany those who seek to be superior. Their relationships are marked by understanding, patience, and grace, even in the face of conflict. Humility allows them to approach disputes with a spirit of reconciliation, prioritizing harmony and mutual respect over winning an argument or asserting dominance. In this way, humility fosters an environment of cooperation rather than conflict, making it easier for others to work together and find common ground. In moments of difficulty or trial, a humble person does not blame others or seek to place themselves above the circumstances. Instead, they accept their situation with grace, trusting in God's plan and purpose, even when the path is unclear or challenging. They understand that suffering is a part of life, and they approach it with a spirit of endurance rather than complaint. Their humility allows them to see the bigger picture, recognizing that challenges are opportunities for growth and transformation. Integrity is one of the most powerful indicators that someone is truly from God. It is a quality that reflects the alignment of one's actions with their beliefs, and it is a fundamental expression of character. Integrity goes beyond simply following moral guidelines or ethical codes. It involves a consistency of thought, word, and deed that reflects a deep commitment to doing what is right, even when it is difficult or when no one is watching. A person who demonstrates integrity acts with honesty, fairness, and a strong moral compass, regardless of external circumstances. One of the most profound aspects of integrity is that it transcends external pressures. In a world where it is often tempting to compromise values for personal gain or acceptance, someone with integrity stands firm in their principles. They do not alter their behavior to fit the situation, and they do not bend the truth for convenience. Their commitment to what is right is not swayed by the fear of judgment or the pursuit of advantage. Instead, they maintain an unwavering standard of honesty and decency. This consistency is a key marker of someone who is rooted in a higher moral purpose, one that transcends societal expectations or fleeting desires. Integrity is also revealed in the way a person handles difficult situations. When faced with temptation or moral dilemmas, someone from God with integrity will choose the harder, right path over the easier, wrong one. Whether in their personal life, business dealings, or relationships, they are driven by an inner sense of what is just and right, and they act accordingly. They are not swayed by the lure of temporary pleasure or success, nor do they allow fear, greed, or self-interest to dictate their choices. In times of adversity, a person of integrity remains steadfast, upholding their values, even when doing so might come at a personal cost. This commitment to righteousness, even in challenging circumstances, is a clear indicator of someone whose heart is aligned with God's will. Another important aspect of integrity is honesty, especially when it is difficult to be honest. A person with integrity does not engage in deceit, half-truths, or omissions to protect themselves or manipulate others. They understand that truth is not just an abstract concept, but a foundation for trust and genuine relationships. Their honesty is not just about avoiding falsehood, but about being transparent and open in all their dealings. Whether it is admitting a mistake, taking responsibility for their actions, or being forthright with others, someone with integrity values the truth above all else. They know that the integrity of their character is directly tied to their commitment to truthfulness, and they refuse to let anything compromise that. A person who is truly from God and demonstrates integrity is also highly accountable. They do not shy away from responsibility, nor do they deflect blame onto others when things go wrong. Instead, they acknowledge their role in situations and take ownership of their actions. Accountability is a key sign of integrity because it shows that a person is willing to accept the consequences of their choices, both good and bad. They do not make excuses or engage in denial, but rather own their mistakes and learn from them. This accountability is not a form of self-punishment, but an opportunity for growth and maturity. It is a sign that they understand the weight of their actions and are committed to becoming better individuals. In their relationships, someone with integrity is trustworthy and reliable. They follow through on their commitments and promises, and they act in ways that build trust with others. Trust is the foundation of all healthy relationships, and a person who lives with integrity understands this. They do not make empty promises or break their word for convenience. Instead, they honor their commitments, whether to family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers. Their word is their bond, and their actions back up their promises. This reliability makes them someone others can depend on, not just in times of ease, but also during times of difficulty. The integrity of their character ensures that they are consistent in their interactions with others, and this fosters a deep sense of respect and trust in their relationships. Integrity is also reflected in the way a person manages their personal conduct in private. When no one is around to see their actions, someone with integrity continues to uphold the same standards. They do not compartmentalize their moral life, acting one way in public and another in private. Instead, they live with authenticity and consistency, knowing that their character is not dependent on the presence of others. They understand that their integrity is not contingent on external recognition, but is intrinsic to who they are. This means they are just as honest, respectful, and ethical in private as they are in public, because their actions are governed by their internal moral compass, not by the expectation of others' approval. Integrity also involves treating others fairly and with respect. A person who is truly from God will not take advantage of others or use them for personal gain. They are committed to justice, and they work to ensure that others are treated equitably, regardless of their social status, background, or influence. Their integrity compels them to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves, to challenge injustice when they see it, and to act in ways that promote fairness and equality. This fairness is not limited to interactions with close friends or allies, but extends to everyone, regardless of how they are perceived by society. The person of integrity will treat all people with dignity, showing kindness and respect even when others fail to do the same. A person with integrity is also humble enough to recognize that they do not know everything. They are open to feedback, correction, and constructive criticism. Their commitment to doing what is right means that they are willing to learn from others and grow. They are not threatened by others' success or opinions, but instead view opportunities for feedback as a way to improve and become more aligned with God's will. This openness to growth and self-improvement shows that their integrity is not rigid but dynamic, evolving as they deepen their understanding of truth and righteousness. Integrity is ultimately about alignment with a higher purpose, living in accordance with one's values, regardless of the external consequences. It is not about seeking approval or recognition from others, but about living in a way that honors the principles of honesty, fairness, and accountability. Someone with integrity reflects a deep internal commitment to righteousness and a desire to embody the values that God has set forth. Their integrity shapes their actions, their relationships, and their reputation, but it also serves as a witness to others of the power of living a life grounded in truth. A deep sense of peace is a fundamental sign that someone is truly from God. This peace is not simply the absence of conflict or the temporary relief from distress. Rather, it is an inner calm and assurance that transcends external circumstances. It is a peace that comes from a deep connection with the divine, a peace that is grounded in faith, trust, and understanding of God's sovereignty over all things. This peace is not merely a fleeting emotional state, but a lasting, stable foundation for how a person responds to life's challenges. One of the most distinguishing aspects of this divine peace is its stability. While the world around us may be filled with turbulence, anxiety, and uncertainty, someone who is from God carries an inner peace that remains unshaken by external circumstances. Whether they are facing personal trials, societal upheaval, or global crisis, their peace remains anchored in something deeper than the ever-changing events of life. This stability is not the result of avoidance or denial, but of a profound assurance that no matter what happens, they are held in the care of a loving and sovereign God. The peace they experience is a fruit of their unwavering trust in God's plan, knowing that He is in control and that nothing is outside of His reach or understanding. This peace also provides the individual with a sense of clarity and perspective, even in times of difficulty. When faced with challenges or suffering, the person from God does not succumb to fear, panic, or despair. Instead, their peace allows them to approach the situation with calmness and discernment. They are able to see beyond the immediate turmoil and keep a larger perspective in mind, understanding that hardships are often part of a greater purpose. This sense of peace equips them to navigate challenges with wisdom and patience, trusting that each situation has the potential to shape them into a more compassionate and grounded person. It allows them to act thoughtfully and with grace, even when the pressure is intense. The peace someone from God experiences also manifests in their relationships with others. While conflict and stress are inevitable in human interaction, a person who carries divine peace is able to approach relationships with a spirit of reconciliation and calm. But they are not quick to anger or frustration, but instead they remain composed and patient, willing to listen and understand. Their peace makes them steady and approachable, creating an atmosphere where others feel safe and supported. In times of disagreement, they do not escalate tensions, but instead seek to de-escalate and bring about understanding and resolution. Their presence in a room can often be calming, and they act as peacemakers, not in the sense of merely avoiding conflict, but in actively seeking peaceful resolutions. The peace someone from God carries is rooted in forgiveness. Forgiveness is a central aspect of divine peace, as it frees the individual from bitterness, resentment, and the burdens of past wrongs. Someone who is truly from God understands the profound power of forgiveness and practices it even when it is difficult. This practice of forgiveness releases them from the toxic emotions that often accompany hurt and offense, allowing them to maintain their peace in the face of betrayal or injustice. By forgiving others, they are not only offering grace to those who have wronged them, but also ensuring that they themselves remain free from the inner turmoil that comes with holding on to grudges. Their peace is a testimony to the power of forgiveness, as they recognize that forgiveness does not necessarily mean excusing wrongs, but rather choosing to release the need for retribution and letting go of the emotional weight of resentment. Another critical element of this divine peace is its ability to bring about a sense of inner rest. In a world that often demands constant striving, achievement, and busyness, someone from God experiences a restful peace that allows them to pause and breathe. This peace is a reprieve from the ceaseless pressures that the world imposes, offering a quiet assurance that it is okay to stop, reflect, and simply be. This rest is not a form of complacency or disengagement, but an acknowledgement that peace is found not in external accomplishments or possessions, but in a deep connection with the divine and the present moment. Someone with this peace does not feel the need to constantly prove themselves or to chase after success for validation. They are at rest because they know their worth is not tied to what they do, but to who they are as a beloved creation of God. Divine peace also brings with it a profound sense of contentment. In a culture that often promotes dissatisfaction and a longing for more, someone from God is able to find peace in the present moment, regardless of their circumstances. They do not live in a state of constant longing or comparison with others, but rather they embrace what they have and are thankful for it. This contentment does not mean that they never desire improvement or change, but it means that they are not ruled by an insatiable desire for more or an unhealthy attachment to material things. Their peace allows them to find joy in simple pleasures and in the relationships and experiences that truly matter. They are free from the constant chase after fleeting rewards, and instead they are centered in the peace that comes from knowing they are enough, just as they are in the eyes of God. The peace someone from God experiences often leads them to become a source of peace for others. People are drawn to the calm and assurance that radiates from them. In a chaotic and anxious world, their steady presence offers a refuge to those around them. They do not impose their peace on others, but share it naturally through their words and actions. This peace becomes a source of encouragement and comfort, offering others a model for how to navigate life's challenges with grace and trust. Whether through simple acts of kindness, wise counsel, or a listening ear, they become instruments of God's peace in the lives of those they encounter. Their ability to offer peace to others is not the result of their own efforts, but flows from the divine peace they have received and are now extending to others. The peace someone from God experiences is also enduring. It is not a fleeting emotional state that comes and goes based on circumstances. It is a lasting internal peace that withstands the ups and downs of life. This peace is not built on transient feelings or situational happiness, but on a deep, abiding trust in God's character and promises. It does not depend on the absence of trials or difficulties, but on the assurance that no matter what happens, God's presence and care are constant. This peace is a testament to the strength that comes from a life aligned with God's will and a heart at rest in His love and sovereignty. The peace that someone from God possesses is a reflection of their relationship with the divine. It is a peace that cannot be manufactured or obtained through worldly means, but is a gift that flows from knowing and trusting in God. This peace transcends human understanding, offering stability in times of turmoil, calm in times of chaos, and rest in times of exhaustion. It is a peace that sustains the individual and enables them to reflect the love and grace of God to others.